that's kind of what happened to me, and I was seeking and I was guided, and unity was the answer for me. Oneness, that we are human being at the core, and recognizing that. And I created and expressed that through art, and it's been a lifelong project right now. Over 2,000 paintings. When you put them together, all people and all countries come together in unity. You will see a big giant piece as one of the biggest paintings that would ever be made. I've been working on for 15 years. And right now I'm just want to fine tune and just stay on that course and just allow.
The thing about you and your art, or you and your music, or you and your whatever it is that when it's you and you've shown yourself without any of these words. You know when you're in the zone. If you're an athlete, you can feel when you're in the zone, when you can't miss that basket, or when you've got clarity in your body and you just know where to be on whatever playing field you're playing on. You've felt it if you are a musician reaching for lyrics or melodies. You've felt it. You felt when you tuned into it. You felt when something larger than you, something bigger than you, some knowing pulsed through you. You felt that. But you see, here's the thing that most people haven't differentiated between. People ask us sometimes, is there good and is there evil? And we say, there's only good and absence of it. But every thought that has ever been thought still exists in this universe. So every hateful or fearful or frightened thought that has ever been thought still exists. So if you get on that less than satisfied and moving toward fearful jaunt down the emotional scale, you may very well find yourself feeling inspired to hatred. And it feels to you that something bigger than you is talking to you in that way. Well, something bigger than you is talking to you in that way because you've stepped into the current of all of that disillusionment. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists, and law of attraction has put them together in rivers and streams. So there are lots of streams that you could step into that would carry you away and give you the impression that you're being guided by something more powerful than you. And that is true. It is a stream that is calling you. But until you use your guidance system to ask yourself how it feels, you can't tell what influence you are under. You can't tell if you're under the influence of the stream or the source that is all about who you have become over all that you've lived. You can't tell if you are under the influence of what you want to call God or source or good or love until you have emotionally evaluated, you see. And so that's why we're answering your question specifically. Esther awakened the other morning. And first thing in the morning is always, in fact, we don't wake her up because that wouldn't be right. But we just were so eager for her to wake up. And our friskiness and eagerness about her waking up woke her up. And so when she woke up, she felt that. And at her bedside, she always keeps a yellow tablet, just in case something is occurring that she wants to get down, because that's a clear time for her. And so right away, the word satisfaction was in her mind. That's what we were thinking. And in her openness and lack of resistance. In other words, if you're not doing that thing you do that holds your vibration down, your vibration will rise to the equivalency of your inner being. And so since she was just focused barely into the day, she wasn't worried about anything. And so there she was right there with us. And that's what we were thinking about. So that's what she was thinking about. Follow? So she took her notepad, and then we influenced this following process. We encouraged her to draw a line down the middle, and on the right side, write satisfied, and on the left side, write unsatisfied or not satisfied. And then we helped her to think about something. And then we asked her, is that satisfying or not? Well, it was so satisfying. So we encouraged her to draw an arrow towards satisfying. So she did. So then another satisfying thought, whoosh, there it went. Then another one, whoosh. And then we encouraged her to find a less than satisfying thought, which was easy because something that had just happened, and she thought about it. We'll tell you what it was. The office is closed on Monday because Esther wants her wonderful family of staff to have that feeling of freedom. And so they have Mondays with pay to do whatever they want to do. And so it was Monday, and Esther was the only one on the property. And the FedEx truck met her as she was going out the gate. He'd been sitting there for a while, and he was frustrated because he was there to pick up something. Esther said, oh, you can just drop your packages in the back of my car. I'll haul them around till tomorrow because the office is closed. But he was there to pick something up, which meant somebody had made a mistake. He shouldn't be there on Monday. And it had happened something like that the last 3 Mondays. And now Esther's a little annoyed. They're gone. I'm here. What's going on, guys? Let's think things through a little bit. Unsatisfying. That's not satisfying. I didn't have to do your stuff. Do your stuff. Don't ask me to do your stuff. Unsatisfying. And then we ask her, is there anything that is satisfying about these people that right now you are feeling dissatisfaction? Oh man, that. Page 2, that. Page 3, that. Took care of that dissatisfaction, bridged that belief, nipped that in the bud, leaned in the direction that she wants to. But without that game, since she's pointing that way with no awareness of which way she's pointing, what do you think law of attraction would have brought her as her next thought? Oh yeah, last Monday too. Oh yeah, where's the appreciation for your day off? In other words, it can go either way because thoughts are in the air. Yes, because experiences have been lived, because you have a history of vibrational offerings, and every thought that you've ever thought still exists. But right now, Esther had control over which way she went. And because we were playing the satisfaction game, see what we're getting at?
So anything I do on a daily basis, kind of do this practice or anything.
Don't make yourself crazy. Okay. We're just making a point.
Okay.
In other words, we don't want you to run around with a yellow pad. You. See this? See this? All these other people satisfied. You. We don't want you to make it that literal. We just want you to grasp the concept that in the early stages you have such control to feel the way you want to feel. But if you let it go a little bit, it'll get out of control. Someone said to us one day, Abraham, it feels like my thoughts are thinking me. And we said, well, that's because the law of attraction is responding to the active thought. And because you're not introducing some other thought for law of attraction to respond to. And so the direction of your thought is just taking you in the direction of your thought. And it doesn't mean that one way is right and one way is wrong. It means that one way your inner being is in agreement with and the other way your inner being is not in agreement with. Esther's inner being will only love her staff. Esther's inner being will only understand their positive aspects. The question is, does Esther really want to get crossways of her inner being? Crossways of her power, crossways of the energy that creates worlds, crossways of everything that she's put into her vortex, crossways of everything she is and everything she wants and everything that is becoming? No. And that's why we want to say to you, satisfaction comes from only one place, moving in the direction of who you are. When you get that, now you've got this creative control because, of course, things happen. You could gather together in forums and you could discuss the rightness and the wrongness of behaviors. Seems to be that you're doing a lot of that these days. And you could be running around trying to get people to agree with you. I need you to understand me and I need you to agree with me because if you don't, then what? Seek understanding from your inner being. Seek understanding from who you've become. Let the life that you have created lead you to letting yourself be the life that you've created. Nothing less will do. Life caused you to become this. You got to move in that direction, no matter how many other people are doing something other than that.
I'm not necessarily there anymore, or, more of a place of like the joy and the excitement and enthusiasm that I want to do this. I want to create something. So what's your question? Toward the path I'm going, my journey.
What's your question?
My question is, how can I fine-tune?
Fine-tune in the early stages and trust law of attraction to turn satisfaction into interest and eagerness and enthusiasm and passion. That's how you fine tune.
Just be satisfied, no, wherever you are, whatever you do, whatever moment you are, just feeling that.
But don't underestimate. You said, just be satisfied. Oh, piece of cake. Just be satisfied. Focus yourself into satisfaction when you can. And what you will notice is law of attraction will take the frequency of the satisfaction that you are emitting and compound it by giving you things back that match it until the satisfaction will turn to interest and passion and ecstasy and joy. There's satisfaction or there's hatred. There's satisfaction or there's guilt. Just for a little while, pretend like the only emotion on the aligned part of the scale is satisfaction. When we wrote that emotional scale for you, have you seen it? When we wrote it for you, our intention was to help you to understand that your guidance takes on many feelings. And the feeling is all about the power of your desire and your relationship with it. That's what every emotion is. It's about what you've actually become and what you're letting yourself be in any moment in time. That's what your emotions are. So the more you're letting yourself be who you really are, the better you feel. The less you're letting yourself be who you really are, the worse you feel. When you sort of understand that emotional scale. And in that same book, Ask and It Is Given, we wrote 22 processes. Each process to help you to move up the emotional scale. So a lot of them, we said, if you're feeling disempowered, then revenge is moving up. Doesn't revenge feel better than powerlessness? But isn't revenge a long way from love? But if we said, don't feel revengeful, feel love, you don't have any possibility of making that vibrational jump. It's too big of a gap, and law of attraction is not cooperating with you at all on that. And so there were many processes to help you move from, for example, blame or guilt to blame. Blame feels better than guilt. They both suck. But blame does feel better than guilt. And so all of these processes to help you. And today, what we would like to say to you about those processes is that in all of those processes, there is what we would call relief, because it feels a little better to have revenge than to feel powerless. In other words, if you feel powerless against somebody, but then you say, oh no, I'm laying in my bed and I got a big old gun. And if somebody walks through that door, I'm going to get them. You feel better than lying in your bed quivering. You just do. You've taken some of your power back with that action, so to speak. But still, that hatred, that anger, even though you might feel relief in not being as afraid as you were, it's relief. You don't feel as bad as you did. But once you cross over from what we would call resistance-ridden emotions into satisfaction, where there's no resistance, once you cross over into satisfaction and law of attraction gets hold of that state of being that you are feeling that has no resistance in it whatsoever, the movement up the emotional scale from satisfaction all the way into passion and ecstasy and power and enthusiasm is a very fast movement. Does that make sense to you? So we're just making a very strong distinction between relief, which feels better, and then that next step of relief into satisfaction where you finally release the resistance. And if you will play this game, we're asking you just for fun to play this game just for a day or two or three, where catch yourself early before the momentum is taking you anywhere else, and just notice when you feel satisfied and hold yourself there long enough that the law of attraction will get hold of that and move it into something else, and feel how quickly your full-bodied, full-throated, spiritual, non-physical leverage of source energy returns to who you are. Feel the empowerment that comes to you, the enthusiasm for life that returns. Feel your feeling of friskiness and certainty and sureness and balance and flexibility and awesomeness. Feel yourself return to the full power of who you are. And you'll never want to go to the dark side of the moon again. You just won't. This is a really good time. for a segment of refreshment.